Welcome to Story Punk. I am Scott, and I'm joined by our lovely
I don't know about
co-host.
lovely, but I'm Drew.
And he turns the letters for us.
Yes.
so-
It's important work.
yes, it is. And we are here today to talk about the movie from
2014.
2014, that's right. The movie Nightcrawler. And in this movie, we have Jake Gyllenhaal, who plays Lou Bloom, which is an interesting name. And he is an ambitious, morally bankrupt drifter. How you like that? I wrote that out ahead of time.
I don't know if he's a drifter.
Well, maybe not
He
a drifter.
has an apartment,
Yeah,
but he
yeah.
is
I don't know why I wrote drifter.
not of great financial resources, and that's all he cares about.
I think I was thinking drifter because he's always in his car. I think I said
Well,
said
that's
drifter.
his job, Scott. Oh my God.
I know. Oh my God. Anyway, he while he's doing some nefarious activity, he kind of stumbles upon the cutthroat world of freelance crime journalism in Los Angeles.
He puts the stinger in stringer.
So I mean, and Los Angeles is a good place to you probably get lots of work doing that. And things get increasingly more complicated as Lou he starts to sort of blur the lines between being the observer, recorder of this information, to becoming sort of a participant as he sort of chases trying to find more increasingly shocking footage to sell to TV news stations. This movie certainly is it's a critique of capitalism. I don't think that's a stretch to make that assumption.
Not at all.
And sort of people chasing that American dream and what some people will do.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of also an indictment of I don't even know if this was a term in 2014, but certainly a term now, hustle culture, and also media sensationalism and fear mongering in news. You know how
Yeah, I think it's more a criticism of those things. I don't think that the movie is criticizing him for his hustle. I think the movie is depicting someone who hustles so hard that he does terrible things. But that's only because he's a terrible person.
Yeah, well, I mean that's a very interesting thing about this movie that I found was that it is like some of the things that he talks about and some of the things that he does. If you see it through a lens that's not, if you sort of take morality out of it, it's not a. Objectively, some of those things are kind of things that people in the business world, they're like, oh, these are things that we're looking for in someone.
Right. That's why I don't think you should take morality out of it.
Well, that's a very good point. But I guess that's what I'm trying to say is that, yes, we do. It's very important that we do look at it through a moral lens because otherwise you're probably a terrible person.
Yeah. No, and he is.
So it's definitely an interesting story because we're kind of looking at this this narrative where he's going from this petty thief we see from the very beginning. He's cutting fence to sell the metal.
Yeah,
materials.
we see two things about him. We see three things about him in the very first minutes of the movie. Is that he's stealing stuff to scrap. And also, he beats up a security guard. He mugs a security guard for his watch.
Yes.
And then when he goes to sell the scrap that he's taken, he's trying to sell himself as well.
Yes.
He thinks he's a big negotiator, which he definitely gets better at as it goes.
Yes.
And he's trying to sell himself as an employee, and the guy's like, I'm not hiring a thief. So everything that happens to him and everything that people say to him fuels how he moves through the world. And this movie is really, really good at building characters, especially his right out of the gate.
Yes.
Because you could look at him and be like, that dude is weird, and he's kind of skinny and has big eyes, and he seems to stare at people. But you already get a sense of what's important to him. Like he's weird and he's off-putting, and he becomes more and more unsettling. But all of that is there in the character from the moment that we meet him. Even without like mugging someone, he is really unsettling.
Yeah.
It's a really incredible performance, like a career performance by Jake Gyllenhaal.
Sure.
And I was a little surprised. It got nominated, as it deserved, for Best Screenplay Oscar by Dan Gilroy, the director, but it didn't get any other nominations. And I was surprised because I think it's,
Well, he
good enough to get much more awards attention.
Well, he got nominated for. He didn't get nominated for an Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
But there was some other stuff that he did get nominated for, but he didn't get. But that's the most surprising is that he.
I think so. I
And
mean, he got nominated for BAFTA and Critics' Choice and
did he get Golden Globe?
a lot of that
I mean,
stuff.
I
Yeah,
know
for
Golden
Golden
Globes,
Globe.
but the Golden Globes are, you know.
Well, they're different now because they're not the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, which is like a sycophant corporation.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm not going to pretend I remember off the top of my head what other movies were nominated in 2014, but it was, it's an all-time performance and an excellent film.
Sure. And the thing that's really interesting too about this, and I mean, this is maybe kind of a spoiler. I mean, this movie is almost like a success story. It's just about a success story of a terrible person. So
Oh no, that's a very see. I said this about Sinners that I think Sinners is a great American movie.
yeah,
So is Nightcrawler.
yeah,
This is a movie about our country and about our culture and about how people move through this culture. And yes, you can read it and should as a critique of capitalism and a critique of what news means in our culture. Or you can forget the political stuff and just watch the story of he's a psychopath.
yeah,
He is a psychopath who ultimately is so successful that other people, including people, we'll talk about this, that he has victimized, are like, I'm on board.
yeah.
Like, he's so compelling
Yeah.
as an actor and as a character. He's so compelling. And I would not want to be near either of them.
Oh yeah, yeah. He is this is what I was thinking about a lot. I kept thinking about the movie Taxi Driver because I
Sure.
feel like this is almost like an inverse of Travis Bickle, where Travis Bickle was, I mean, it was crazy, no doubt, but I kind of feel like his motivations were he was trying to make the world a better place. He's just doing it in a real fucked up way. And I kind of feel like where Lou Bloom is someone who he is trying to make things better for himself in a real fuck. So it's very selfish motivation.
Sure.
So it's sort of like, and that's why
Which
I kind
is very American.
of, oh, there you go. And that's what I kind of felt like I kept thinking about. It was someone who has like these motivations to, strong motivations to do something in very bizarre ways that wouldn't necessarily occur to quote unquote normal people. And, and that's what made me think of like Travis Bickle, who's just like, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to make the world a better place and I'm going to do it. And like, and it just never occurs to him, like, maybe you shouldn't do things this way. And that's what I kept thinking about Lou Bloom is like, I'm going to be a success. I'm going to be this successful crime journalist. I'm going to start a business. And he just like, but never stops to think like, maybe this isn't the way we should do. I'm like hurting people. This is detrimental to.
Well, I think he says it explicitly later in the movie, and we should talk a little bit more about the story.
Yeah.
But he says it later in the movie that basically he doesn't like people.
Yeah.
Because you could read him like he's a psychopath in terms of having it's not that he doesn't have concept of morals. He just doesn't care.
Yeah.
And he doesn't see other people as mattering at all. And that is shown explicitly in the movie, whether he's dragging a body to get a better shot or getting his partner / employee killed, like all these different things. And I think he quotes self-help text type of stuff a lot.
Yeah.
And I think he really believes it.
Yeah.
I think he believes that, if you, he says fear, the fear acronym,
Yes.
which to me is very Gary Busey.
Yeah.
And Gary Busey is not well and has a lot of acronyms that he guides his life by and stuff. And this guy is cut from this cloth. Like it's actually a movie that I think is a really effective portrayal of mental illness without, I think, doing anything cartoonish with it.
Yeah.
And not like this guy isn't mentally ill. He can't live his life. This guy is mentally ill and he lives his life on the ashes of other people.
I feel like when we're talking about how sort of the way that he goes about doing the way he talks specifically
Very flat affect.
well yeah so it's like I remember I was like looking at some stuff like just some business stuff online and you know how the algorithm gets you and you start getting all this and I started getting all of this entrepreneur motivational bullshit and it was funny when he says in the movie, because I go online a lot. I think he tells Rene Russo's character that, because I'm online a lot, and it just made me think of when I was getting all this stuff kind of crammed down my throat on YouTube, all this entrepreneurial it comes across very phony, and maybe some of it has some merit, some value.
Well, the real business is, of course, selling you entrepreneurial opportunities.
Yes, and that's how I felt like those like one-liners that they throw out there to gain your interest. That's how I felt like he was talking. He was the things he was saying were like, these feel like YouTube quotes. These feel like things that you would see on YouTube Shorts, or it'd be like the little 30-second thing that they would say to gain your interest to go click on their YouTube channel. These are the things he's saying. It doesn't feel like there's anything behind it. It's just like, this seems like it makes sense, like how I would be successful. And that's like you said, like that flat delivery. It's just like, it's like there's like nothing behind it. It's sort of like there's like
it's funny because him being so unsettling and unnerving, obviously that pushes his ability to negotiate and get prices for his footage and all this stuff further. He's not. That's just him.
Yeah.
Like he's not doing it to that, but that shows you like he doesn't care about anything. He's very driven, which, he's driven to get money, which is America. And that I think is a big part of why it's successful at what it does. I think it's a very powerful portrait of this guy that feels very real. And I think Jake Gyllenhaal, I think, is a wonderful actor. I remember I used to live in LA and work in this business, and I remember I had a friend who worked for a very big Oscar-winning screenwriter, and he was, you take meetings, and he was supposed to take this meeting about some baseball movie that never got made. Actually, it was a pretty good script, obviously, because the guy knew how to write a movie, but he had to take a meeting with this kid, Jake Gyllenhaal, that his agent had set up. And I remember he came back and he told my roommate, who then told me, he's like, this kid is not right for this movie. He's gonna be something. Yeah. And then October Sky came out, and it was like, oh no, we're off to the races. This kid is really good. And that's, October Sky is what, like 97 or something. Have you seen that? About being the son of a coal miner.
Yeah.
Like that's
Chris Cooper. Right?
Yeah, it's a wonderful movie. Laura Dern. It's a wonderful movie, and he is really good. And sometimes you see a movie with somebody you've never seen before, and you're like, oh, that's a movie star, or that's a real actor that's going places. And that was one of those movies for me. I think it's a wonderful movie, and I'm a sucker for space program stuff anyway. But it's about, Homer Hickam became a rocket engineer for NASA. But he is one of those promising new actors that have totally paid off. And this is part of that arc. And he lost a lot of weight for the role. Not like Christian Bale in Machinist weight, but I want to say he lost like 30 pounds or something.
Yeah, that's actually what I saw. He said he lost about 30 pounds because he was trying to, they said it was sort of like reinforcing that whole idea that he was not only driven because he was hungry in the metaphoric sense, but that he was literally hungry. Yeah. And it was just it does give him like sort of like that weird energy kind of like too. His eyes are bugging out. His facial features are very sharp, and
well, also he does seem very alien. Like he doesn't. He really only gets really angry in one scene. Yeah, where he breaks his own bathroom mirror.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you about. That he actually he got so into it that he actually cut his hand. Like
Leonardo DiCaprio in Django. You said.
Yeah, they said that's why in that opening scene, I found this out. The opening scene when he's talking to the guy trying to get the job after with the fence pieces. That's why his hand's behind his back.
Oh, because he cut
his hand had been bandaged up.
That's funny, because I think his he's got that monotone the way he speaks. Yeah, and that intensifies with anger, but he doesn't generally yell at people. Yeah, even when they're screaming at him, like Nina. That's Rene Russo. We'll talk about her in a minute. She, in certain scenes, screams at him, and he just says terrible things. Terrible things, whether it's just awful or threatening, or I'm going to extort you in this specific way, in a flat, very frightening manner, except for that one scene. which I honestly don't even know. I didn't even expect that to be in the movie. Is it felt like he doesn't have anything bottled up. He's so driven,
Yeah.
and it all comes out the way he wants it to come out because he doesn't really care about other people existing at all.
When he says, there's that part where she says to him, like, friends don't do that or to each other or something like that. And
Right.
he goes, that's not true. He goes, and then he says, he goes, a friend is a gift you give to yourself.
Right,
And you're like,
right.
what the fuck? Like,
Well, 'cause it's
who
all-
says something like that?
It's
in an
all about
argument?
him, which is why his arc, his character arc, he does not grow or change.
Yeah.
He succeeds.
Yeah.
And of course the way he succeeds is so destructive. And it's not a coincidence that his success is at capturing the destruction of other people.
Yeah.
I mean, he says that line about like, if you see me, it's like the worst day
Yes.
of your life.
Yeah.
And that is true. I mean, literally you either you're in a car accident or you got murdered and I'm in your house before the cops get there, all that kind of stuff. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. No, we're moving right along here.
I'm sorry. There was one other thing about his mood.
Yes.
In the scene where he's got an assistant played by Riz Ahmed named Rick. We'll
Yes.
talk about him later too.
We can talk about him now.
Well, they get to the house fire, and they get there too late because Rick screwed up the
Yes.
navigation. And this is a little bit before, you got GPS, Google Maps on your phone kind
Yeah.
of stuff. And so he gets really angry at Rick without really yelling at him.
Uh-huh.
And then Rick, I can't remember the exact line, but Rick says something about, like, you have to tell me this or
Well,
something.
he said what I think the specific scene you're talking about. He was saying when he's like, you're yelling at me, and he says, well, don't come to me with solutions, not with problems. And that's what he tells him, because it's actually very surprising because he tells him, he goes, well, when you yell at me, I can't focus or whatever.
Right. And then Lou Bloom, his anger shuts off.
I know.
And he's like,
That was-
he's like, okay, well, communication is really important. Let's put communication to work. It's terrifying because he is angry that they didn't get there to the fire, but he just shuts it off. And what he says is not only like, sure, communication is really important, but he says it like he's just parroting some shit that he read in a book about how communication is important.
Yeah, it almost seemed to me like it was like, oh, wait a minute, this is something useful. Like it's like it almost like he's so like robotic that it was something like, oh, you've just given me input that I can use.
Right.
And
Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
thank you for helping me out. And here's how we're gonna go forward.
Yeah.
And he does. He's like, okay, I need to communicate better, and you need to communicate better. It doesn't change their power relationship and that he's the boss and stuff. But I mean, he's so goal oriented. It's like we're gonna get to this point, and he gets there, and he gets there, and he gets there, and he gets there. But it's very ugly, of course.
I mean, the Rick character, he was such a good character because it's like, and you feel so sorry for him because he's someone that is truly like, and we see this.
Rick is Riz Ahmed's character.
Riz
yeah.
Ahmed's character, yes. You feel like, and you see this all the time in real life. There's just certain people that just kind of get ground up in this capitalism, this capitalistic machine that exists. And he is definitely one of those people because he's just desperate to survive, and you're watching that movie, and I think if you're any kind of an empathetic person, the whole time you're sitting there and you're like, would he just tell Lou to shut the fuck up, or you want him to stand up for himself?
Yeah, you're like that poor kid.
And the most heartbreaking thing is when he finally does, in the back of your head, like, because soon as Lou is like, okay, and he starts agreeing to it, you're like, oh, that's not normal.
Yeah,
he wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
He's fucked.
Yeah.
And you're like,
And indeed he is.
and he was certainly, most definitely, and that's what I was thinking, because you're like, just stand up for yourself. And then he's like, okay, I want half of this and that. And he's like, okay, we can negotiate this. And as soon as he starts going down that path, I was just like, your heart's just breaking because you're like, oh shit.
Well, by the time you get to that point in the movie, which is we'll talk a little bit more about the story, but essentially they're way over the line of what's okay for them to do. They are a kind of journalist, and they're supposed to observe, and they're way past that. And to me, this movie and why it's I think it's an excellent film, obviously.
Yeah.
I see it as a series of escalations.
Yes.
And the escalations aren't just, oh my gosh, like he just, oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
Are you still in the Superman episode?
Yeah, right. Well, golly,
What the hey, dude?
what the hey, phooey, oh fudge. But his escalations are increasingly uncomfortable for us to watch. And I made a list. And it's like he enters the house where he films the gunshots on a fridge door because someone was murdered. And then he drags the victim of a car accident in Benedict Canyon. Great cycling. I did it all the time when I would get there. For a better shot. He goes on a date with Nina to a Mexican restaurant where he so flatly extorts sex out of Nina's character that you're like, wait, is that what's happening? Because it's like, if you do this, then I'll just keep working just for you and it'll be profitable for everybody. He sabotages and seriously injures his rival, Bill Paxton, and does it in a way that Bill Paxton knows what happened.
Yeah.
And he beats the police to the scene of the home invasion. He hears gunshots. He sees two men drive away. He goes in the house. He films bodies. He sees the guy isn't dead. He leaves anyway. Like, it's all this crazy stuff. And like, as soon as he walks out of this house, where he's seen people just destroyed, he's already lecturing Rick on how to be a better employee and be a better man, and like, because it's so crazy. But the other half of that is his reactions to what happens, which to him are successful in selling more things and whatever. He has this glee. Like he basically says to Nina, you know, I'm going to have sex with you, or you're going to have sex with me, and here's why, and I don't care if you want to or not. He smiles.
Yeah.
He's having a good time, and he has no hesitation about doing any of these things. He has no hesitation about using people, and that, as a performance from Jake Gyllenhaal, is consistent through the entire movie.
Yeah.
And there are other people in the movie that have serious ethical violations, but they're all tied to him. And if they weren't tied to him, they'd be tied to someone else. But they're tied to him, and he is just a bullet of single purpose and of, I would argue, evil. Because it's not even so much that he's amoral.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about morals, but he also doesn't care about the consequences to that individual in front of him. And that makes him, to me, it's one of the best performances that Jake Gyllenhaal has done, and it's just genuinely terrifying. It's a weird way to look at a horror movie, but in some ways, it is definitely a horror movie.
Yeah. And I feel like when it comes to that character is just, like you said, it's just that he's just so, like, without remorse, without empathy. It's just he's like a shark, you know, just kind of.
Which is not fair to sharks, because they're just animals. They're just animals, and they hunt and they feed. He has agreed that he is working to satisfy. It's actually insulting to equate him to a shark. I don't know, you didn't mean it. I'm not upset at you. But it's actually, he has agency, and he doesn't care. And to me, that's the depiction of his psychopathy.
One of the things that I think is, is sort of a hallmark of good writing is that when you can see a movie that's trying to say something, and that years later it still is just very relevant. And in this movie,
unfortunately, yes.
Well, I mean, yes. In this case, unfortunately,
yes.
And that is, I mean, the things that we see that are going on in this movie. Just the whole idea of, like, sort of this media sensationalism. I mean, like, now, unfortunately, it's so much easier to do the stuff. I mean, I see stuff.
You don't have to be any remote kind of a formal journalist
Yeah.
to get footage of things, which can be excellent.
Yeah.
Because you're filming things like horrific civil rights violations and murders, but you can not only film whatever you want, you can do whatever you want with it.
I'll tell you a story about this that's very interesting. So I take.
I'll decide if it's interesting.
Thank you, sir. You be the arbiter of interest. Of interesting things, of all things that are interesting. I take my son to an extreme weather conference because he loves weather. That's his thing, and I take it to and we talk to one of the storm chasers there.
Oh, okay. Talk about chasing adrenaline. Jesus.
Yeah. So he said that. That he actually gets more money from filming the mundane things like people shoveling snow or cars stuck in bad weather than he does the extreme stuff. And my point to this is that because people will sell all that stuff, so many people capture that stuff.
Oh, I gotcha. So there's just much more supply.
There's so much,
Gotcha.
and that's sort of how that's where we are now. So people, I would imagine, I'd be curious to see like someone that does that kind of business now, where the business. Oh, and can we just talk about video production news? I love how that just goes to show you just the type of person and the way his brain works. He comes up with the most generic name possible. For his
So basically, Jake Gyllenhaal becomes one of these stringers. They're called essentially Nightcrawlers, and he just listens to the police scanner and drives around Los Angeles. We probably should have said this earlier, and drives around Los Angeles to try to get footage to sell to local news, which in this case is the station run by Nina, who's played by Rene Russo. She is the wife of Dan Gilroy, the writer director.
That's why there's no sex scenes in the movie. He said,
but there is nothing nepotistic about this. She is. I always liked her as an actress. She's amazing in this movie, like really amazing. And so it doesn't matter what it is. It's a horrific car accident. It's a shooting. It's a house fire.
Yeah.
It's a car chase, which I definitely want to talk about later.
Yes, apparently she helped him refine the script.
Oh, Dan Gilroy.
Sorry, Dan Gilroy. That because he had when they had decided that she was going to play that role. She was helping him refine that character, which is I'm sure was very helpful. But the point I was trying to make is that
I can't believe I took you off on a tangent.
That's okay. We do it all the time. That's what makes story punk, right? But the idea that I would be curious how things are now with how many people, the ease of access to video equipment. I mean, everybody has one in their pocket now.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good quality.
It's very good quality.
Yeah. So
my pictures from Alaska are amazing, and it's just my phone.
And the idea that, when I was talking to that storm chaser about how that it's hard to get money for the really extreme stuff. How is that affecting people that are getting the crime stuff? It's very easy. I mean, you have so many people standing around when the stuff happens. Well, not in all cases, but in some cases that is it as easy. And there are people who are willing to give it away. So, how does that impact that industry? I'd be curious to find out.
Yeah.
I mean, not curious enough to look it up right now.
Well, it's kind of like. Evil's the wrong word, but very dark version of something that's already dark, which is paparazzi photography.
Yeah,
because it's way beyond. I want to get a picture of Gwyneth Paltrow coming out of that restaurant, whether she wants it or not. I mean, these are literally videos of people dying, of horrible things happening, all this kind of stuff.
Even when you see stuff like what really is upsetting to me is like people having people that are clearly in some kind of mental distress having public meltdowns. I find that very disturbing. I don't like when people put that on.
Well, it's two kinds of disturbing because you're watching someone who's not well in a crisis.
Yes.
And then you're watching it because somebody else didn't help them.
Yeah.
And filmed them.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying everyone is equipped to to deal with that.
Yeah.
But that's the part. I mean, there's footage of incredible things that you can see every day, TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
And for all moods and purposes and whatever. And some of the stuff is like it can literally change the trajectory of your country, and some of the stuff is adorable, and some of the stuff is really upsetting. But a lot of the stuff is you watch it and you go, why didn't you help? Or at least I go, why didn't you help that person?
I know. Yeah, you see something like that, or that you see like I saw a clip where a guy hit 2 baseballs at once by accident. That were one flew. Anyway, it's another story.
Well, I mean, there's a line. Okay, so there's a scene where the home invasion scene.
Yes.
Let's talk about that just for a second.
Sure.
So they so at a certain point, Jake Gyllenhaal is starting to succeed. He's selling footage to the TV station for more than a few $100s. He's selling it for thousands of dollars, and he's clearly, it's not shown explicitly, but he's clearly going out every night and getting stuff that they want, and he's selling it. So he switches from his dumpy car to a red Dodge Challenger. He is a hell of a driver, I'll give him that.
Yeah.
And so there's a whole sequence which I thought was the most suspenseful sequence of the film till we got to one of the later sequences of the film, where they hear on the radio that in a very wealthy neighborhood up in one of the canyons that there's been a home invasion.
Yes.
And so he goes there, and Riz Ahmed, Rick, stays outside in the car. I'm not really even sure why. It's not like he's to keep a lookout.
Can I say one thing real quick
Yeah.
before we get into that? Let's also remember what motivates him to do that, because he's been told now that
Which he? Jake Gyllenhaal?
Jake Gyllenhaal. We've been told that, or he's been told that when there's crime in the suburbs, that's like he knows that's gold.
Right. That's way more valuable.
Yeah, so that's what's
than
motivating him.
Somebody got shot in some city neighborhood. Yeah.
He's seeing dollar sign. He hears this. He's seeing dollar signs. Anyway,
Well,
go
the
ahead.
power of that scene for his career is that
Yeah.
he gets there before the cops do.
Yes.
So he goes up this driveway to this very expensive house, and he hides in the bushes, and he sees two men come out,
Yeah.
and they get in a car. So he's got footage of the men who must have done something awful, and their car, and their license plate, and they drive off. That goes directly to the final big sequence of the movie. And then he goes into the house, and he videotapes all the bodies. I mentioned before, one of the bodies, there's a man who like twitches and grunts because he's dying. And it doesn't even give him pause. He's just like, I got to get my footage. Bye. And so he leaves. And then when he sells it to Rene Russo, demanding his price, his access, the satisfaction of his sexual demands, it all comes together, and it doesn't seem to make a difference to him whether you're paying him money or you're fucking him. He'll get what he wants. He doesn't care about you as a person, as a business, whatever. I think it's that scene where they're trying to decide. I think it's that one when the news team is the producers and the editors are totally into this footage.
Yeah.
They're trying to decide if they can broadcast it or not. And so somebody says something like, is this ethical?
This is when they get. I think they bring the lawyer, or somebody like their legal counsel or whatever. I think
Something
comes
like
in.
that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, and like, what's our exposure with this?
Yeah.
And like, they're like, legal, and
Or there you go,
Nina,
like,
and
legal
Nina
or
scoffs.
moral?
Nina scoffs, and she goes, "No, morally, ha ha ha. Of course, legally, because everybody is as mercenary as Lou Bloom, as Jake Gyllenhaal's character.
Yeah.
He's way more mercenary than they even
Yeah.
realize."
Yeah.
Because he sells his footage for specific access to Rene Russo's body, to the people running the station,
Yes.
to the anchors,
Yeah.
like everything. He has specific goals that he demands, first asks, and then demands. It's not like everything. You see him sell a bike that he obviously stole, and the guy's like, "Well, it's $200." He goes, "This is a bike that cost me $5,000, and I
Bikes
want to
don't
race
have
on it."
37 gears.
Right, all that kind of stuff. And so he gets better and better at his negotiations that really become extortion. And it becomes extortion because he's really good at getting this footage, and it's worth something. And that scene, I think it is the home invasion story, though, where they're broadcasting it, and Rene Russo's character is calling out directions to what they should say about how it's a nice neighborhood and everybody's scared and all this other stuff. So that's the part where it starts to really explicitly talk about the way media is.
Yeah.
And that it doesn't even matter if it's true. Because ultimately what turns out to happen, spoilers, in that house is it was a drug deal that went very, very wrong. So those aren't innocent people that somebody broke in and murdered them. And but the point is they get the opportunity to correct that, and Nina doesn't care.
Yeah.
She's like, no, the story is that this is a nice neighborhood that something awful happened in, and it could happen to you. And the fact that is news, and that's the way news works in 2014, and still works that way.
Yeah.
Even more, is this movie never stops being relevant.
Yeah.
Which is very powerful. Sorry, I went on there.
No,
but
that's fine.
This movie there's no fat on this film.
No.
It's kind of amazing.
No, it is definitely.
And I think it cost $8 million or something.
$8.5.
Amazing.
They as far as like the casting for this, well, first of all, you have Bill Paxton, who is,
Bill Paxton plays a rival
Yes.
stringer, a
Joe
rival
Loader.
Nightcrawler,
Yes.
who basically invites Lou Bloom to join his business, and Lou Bloom's like, "No, I'm good. I work for myself."
Well, and I
then
think
Bill
part of
Paxton
that-
tells him to essentially to fuck off, and you're missing out. So
I think, and I do wonder if, it's hard to tell. Like, is it just because he kind of scoffed at him in the beginning, or is it just? Do you think? I kind of wonder if Lou would have always been. I don't think it had any. I'm not sure if it really had anything to do with the character of Joe, played by Bill Paxton. If it was because he was kind of dismissive of him in the beginning,
right?
And it's like, nice camera,
Right? Yeah. And I mean, I don't think you should expect to meet someone at one of these places and get a mentor for the business.
Yeah.
But Bill Paxton was a dick. He was
Yeah.
a dick to him. Yeah.
And I do think that that the character of Lou is just I think he's sort of single-minded. He just wanted to do it, and even once he got that. But as far as Bill Paxton goes, it's such a shame.
Another great performance.
I know.
Not in a lot of the movie, but very pivotal in the
Yes.
journey of Jake Gyllenhaal's character.
That's the thing that I was going to say about him, and such a great loss to Hollywood, because he is one of those guys that he can be a leading man, or he can have a part like this in a movie, like a lower budget movie, and you don't think anything of it. Because I think if you had somebody like Leonardo DiCaprio, if he was doing a role like this, you'd be like, what? Like, it would feel weird. But like, you have somebody like Bill Paxton, he can be a lead in a movie like Twister, or he can have a little part like this, and I don't feel like it never feels like he just fits in. He's just one of those guys that he just works in like everything he did, and he was such a it was a great choice for this role.
In my notes for this, I wrote that Bill Paxton had a sleazy kind of excellent performance.
There you go.
Because his character is immediately clear.
Yeah.
All of these guys that are Nightcrawlers, which is not a complimentary way to describe someone's job. There is something parasitic about them and what they do. And he is a sleazy version of it, which I think you get the vibe that that's part of his success. And I think he models a mercilessness that Lou Bloom is like, oh, well, that's the right path. I can go a lot further.
Yeah.
But, Bill Paxton, he's just a wonderful actor and a real loss. This is our second film that we've talked about with him. He was in Edge of Tomorrow.
Yes.
Again, not a huge role.
Yeah.
Very distinct, very memorable. My first exposure to him was he was Hudson in Aliens.
Yes.
And when, the aliens eventually end up, spoiler alert, killing him, he's the one screaming, "Do you want some? Come get some, motherfucker." And like, he's so memorable. But before that, he has all these funny lines.
Yeah.
Like, she survived for 17 days, this little girl. Why'd you put her in charge? Like, all that kind of stuff. And like, he's so distinct. And I love just watching, I love movies, but watching someone who is not in the movie that much. And he delivers, and it's amazing.
He never
because
phones it in.
he never phones it in. But the scene where, because basically the most explicit criminal thing that up to that point that Jake Gyllenhaal's character does is he sabotages Bill Paxton's news van.
Yeah.
And Bill Paxton's van crashes. I can't say Bill or Mr. Paxton. I just have to say Bill Paxton.
Gotcha.
He crashes. And so, of course, it's an accident. It's on the scanner. They go and cover it. And there's this crazy, crazy shot, amazing shot, where Bill Paxton is being loaded into the ambulance. He's strapped to the gurney. His face is all bloody. He looks like he'll live, but he's clearly very seriously injured. And then it cuts to his perspective. And he looks up, and as the camera tilts up, and there's Jake Gyllenhaal with that gaunt face shooting him and staring at him. And then it cuts back to Bill Paxton doing the classic, like, oh, you're only acting with your eyes.
Yeah. No,
and he
that's
knows.
exactly what I thought.
He knows.
Yeah.
And Lou Bloom wants him to know. And there's so much effective stuff like this in that movie, but that I remember thinking like, well, I guess we're not going to see him again.
Yeah.
And that's too bad because he was a good foil at the scenes of these things, but he's the kind of person that this character that Jake Gyllenhaal is playing grinds up and runs through.
Yeah.
And so that's a great example. And it's almost literal because he does physically destroy him.
And you see that, and Rick kind of starts to figure out like, once again, you just feel so bad for like that character, Rick.
For Rick, yeah.
And Riz Ahmed is he's so good. Like this vulnerability that
The Academy Award winner Riz Ahmed.
Did he win? What do you?
Yeah, for Sound of Metal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
He's a very good actor,
is
and this
good.
is one of his earlier roles that people saw. So
Well, you know what? So I found this interesting little tidbit.
and features.
Apparently they added, or they excuse me, they auditioned a lot of people. Auditioned. Oh,
I was
boy.
gonna say, woof.
That was Baltimore coming out.
I'm
at
the
me.
one that had a drink. I don't know
Hello,
what's happening.
I'm Baltimore.
Do not know it, hon. Go
Listen
on.
here, hon.
Go ahead.
I'm going to watch the O's. And listen, so they auditioned several actors for the character of Rick, and apparently it's sort of the vibe that most of them went for was like sort of like laid back surfer, pot smoking kind of vibe. I guess sort of like Brad Pitt in True Romance kind of.
Got it.
And they said that Riz Ahmed's audition kind of went he went more for the sadder vibe, and that's apparently there was sort of that desperate vulnerability.
Well, from the moment that
you.
you meet him, he's responding to some kind of ad for a job, and he meets Jake Gyllenhaal in this diner, and Jake Gyllenhaal is sitting at a table. And Jake Gyllenhaal, I don't know why I'm saying it like that. Mr. Bloom, essentially, it's like he's sitting at the table in the conference room, like he's building his business.
Yeah.
And he's very, very matter of fact with Rick.
Yeah.
About so you have nothing. Obviously you've tricked. And he goes, "Oh no, I haven't tricked." He goes, "No, it's okay.
Or
Everybody."
he goes, "I'm straight." He goes, "I'm plenty of straight guys."
Yeah, right. That's right. It's plenty
I
of
was like,
straight guys
damn.
trick. Yeah. Well, because this
It makes
is
you wonder if he tricked.
well,
you know?
right, but
Yeah.
this guy is as desperate as he is, but not as good at it.
I mean, like honestly, you just met this Rick character, and when Lou tells him there's no money,
Right, he's
it
an
like
intern.
breaks your heart
Yeah.
already, and you just met this guy.
Yeah. Well, wow, this guy's gonna get fucked over by somebody else.
I know.
And he's so pathetic that you're not surprised, but it's still sad. Like I'm not a person, just as a person, I'm not a person that looks at someone like that and goes, "Well, he's not strong enough. He deserves it." And there are people who do that. But Lou Bloom is on another level.
Yeah.
How can I use this person?
Yeah.
And the idea of interns who earn their way into $30 a night or whatever, he's like, yeah, that makes sense. So.
And even though that's 10 years ago, it's like still $30. It's
Nothing.
It's
It's
nothing.
for what turns out to be actually exceptionally dangerous work,
Yeah.
physically and legally.
Yeah, that's something that is just very. But I think that the lineup of people for a relatively small cast,
Yeah.
is was just I mean, every single one's a winner for sure.
Oh yeah.
Did you know that Dan Gilroy was 55 when he did this? Is his first movie. He was a screenwriter.
Well,
mainly.
the Gilroys are quite the Hollywood family.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't
especially right-
mean that in any negative way. They've
No.
done a lot of interesting stuff. And did Dan Gilroy write Michael Clayton? Because I'll be honest, I mix up the Gilroys.
Wait, no. Oh no! I think it's the other.
I think it's Tony.
Yeah.
They also have a brother who's an editor.
Yes.
But Dan and Tony Gilroy have done a
Do you
whole
know
bunch
what-
of different
you know what Dan- what
projects.
he
Sometimes together.
He did the Dan did he did Born Legacy and Real Steel with that robot fighting movie with Hugh Jackman. But you know what else he did?
Wait, hold on. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Real Steel?
Yeah.
I fucking love that movie.
Hey,
I fucking
no
love
judgment. No
that
judgment.
movie.
Hey,
I
look,
love it.
Yeah.
It hits all of its marks perfectly. It's a great movie. Hugh Jackman is perfectly cast.
Yeah.
It's just Rocky with Rock'em Sock'em Robots, and the whole thing works.
Hey, Rock'em Sock'em Robots is I guess they'll probably never be able to do that.
Well, hopefully we have some younger audience members. Rock'em Sock'em Robots was a game
Sheesh.
with plastic robots punching each other that you could play in the real world, not a video game.
I have a post Nightcrawler credit for Dan Gilroy, a movie that you might like,
Yeah.
Kong Skull Island.
Oh yes, he wrote that. Yes,
Yes.
I do enjoy. I'm a big. I'm sure we'll address some of this in later episodes. I'm a big kaiju fan,
Okay.
and I either dig the American MonsterVerse movies or I really dig parts of them.
Okay.
And Kong Skull Island is a really fun script about a giant ape.
Now, is that the one with Sam Jackson,
Yes,
John
that's
C.
the
Reilly?
one with Samuel Jackson and John C. Reilly and Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson.
Yeah.
A lot of Oscar nominees
Yeah.
and winners in that cast. Although they've never nominated Kong, as far as I know, which is
Come
bullshit.
on, man. What's going
bullshit.
on there? One of the things that I think is also interesting as far as just a with the sort of the 2010s when it comes to obviously at 8.5 million, I think you could consider this an independent type film, is that when you think about, like, I think 2010s are when we really kind of got into sort of the digital revolution for the indie scene, where it became
As
very
far as
cheap.
like you're talking about like what cameras you make a movie on.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and where you could have movies made where like versus the '90s, where the '90s it was all about making stuff on film, but making it for cheap on film. That's
Right.
the first time I remember hearing people talk about like film ends, and you could get
Right.
film ends,
And you can
make,
get film ends of Super 16.
yeah,
and, stuff
and
like
you
that.
can
Yeah.
make or people making movies like that were not 35 millimeter, and they were telling there was all these things about how you could finance your movies with your credit cards and
Right.
using the traditional like stripped down versions of the traditional like studio ways of making movies in the 90s, and you have people like Quentin Tarantino who were seeking out like the old school film stocks to like apparently the film stock they used in Pulp Fiction like was so dark that they had to crank up the lights like in the diner scenes, like people
Oh,
were
wow.
like it was like that made the sets incredibly hot, where the 2010s they were using like they were using the digital I'd written it down here the Arri Alexa, because of you could shoot, and so those are cheaper, lighter. You can have apparently they shot 80 locations in 27 days.
In this movie?
Yes.
Wow.
You could never do that back in the 90s. And so and it's and part of the reason they could do that is because that movie could shoot a lot of natural light. The movie camera could shoot a lot of natural light. You didn't have to do a lot of lighting. So that's why there's a lot of scenes where they were trying to make sure that the scenes had there were a lot of street lights or whatever. That scene.
So the vibe of the movie is really created by the way that they shot it.
Yes.
Cinematographically.
Yes, and they were trying to because Dan Gilroy said that he wanted to give almost a documentary type feel to it.
I don't think it achieves that.
I don't. Yeah,
but
I
it's
don't
it's very intimate
but
and raw.
but I do like some of the scenes. I love some of those really wide establishing shots he does of LA. A lot of them are at night, and I thought that those were so like just like amazing. Like and he kind of sits on them for a little bit. To be honest with you, I didn't time them. I don't know if they're longer than normal, but
They're
just
very
because,
absorbing though.
yeah,
So,
it almost reminded me of like Kubrick in a way where you would have these really wide shots, and I'm just like, I think I just liked them so much that it seemed like they were long. Maybe they weren't.
Well, I think there's also some Michael Mann in there.
Yes,
I mean,
that too.
a guy who's a lot of his movies, Heat, Collateral, other stuff that are about establishing the city. I mean, it's interesting. I lived in LA,
Yeah,
so I know the geography of the city. I know obviously it was different from when I was there in the late 90s to 2014 to today, but I know it. I know the geography, but even if you don't know the way it's deployed in the story, even if you don't know it, the way that it's deployed in the story is very effective.
Yeah.
Because you feel the size of the city. I grew up in Baltimore. It's an East Coast city. It has something that West Coast cities don't always have called downtown, that the city is built around. Downtown LA, when I was there, was like, well, those are the office buildings. But, there's no reason that you have to go to downtown because that's where your office is. It could be in Santa Monica. It could be in Westwood. It could be in Glendale. It could be wherever. And you in this movie, you feel the size of the city. And when they're listening to the police scanner, you feel their desperation, even if it's very mercenary, like Lou Bloom's, you feel their desperation of, I have to make the right choice right now of which story to go to, the car crash, the house fire, whatever, because this place is too big.
Yeah.
I won't be able to pick the wrong one and then get to the other one.
Yeah.
And the city, it really, I'm not going to pretend that I recognized every place that they went or anything like that, but they really did an amazing job because, you and I have talked about Out of Sight.
Yeah.
And at the end of Out of Sight, and if my wife was here, she knows both of us very well, obviously, she would roll her eyes. Oh, they're talking about this again. But at the end of Out of Sight, there's a whole sequence set in Albert Brooks's house. And it really
yeah.
matters where everybody is in
Yeah.
relation to each other. This is a great geography movie.
Uh-huh.
The way that they shoot it, construct it, based on how they wrote it, you get the scale of the city, you get the consequence of their choices, and you get the vibe of LA
Yeah.
at night, which is why I said there's some Michael Mann in there. It's not that specific. Like, he's not ripping him off. It's
No,
not some kind of
yeah.
beautiful Michael Mann. There's not a lot of blues and things like that. But the this, and I am not going to say that nonsense where people go, LA was actually kind of its own character. I hate that stuff. But the city feels real. There's no Hollywood glamour or anything. And these are people running
Yeah.
around with cameras in a real city where really awful stuff is happening, and they're excited about it.
Yeah.
And you feel it.
I mean, well, and so and I think maybe we can kind of talk about, because I know you want to talk about the car chase.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Because but let me just prep before we get into that. Just one little thing I do want to talk about.
I can listen. I can listen to
no.
you.
I'm going to be no, but to
Take
get
your
into
time.
that part, the part that sets that up, that scene. I love the way they shot the scene, the shootout in the diner, like how they did it from across. Like you are in Lou and Rick's
POV,
perspective.
absolutely.
I just love the way it was just like wide. You could see, and what a great like location that was.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like they're inside the brightly lit diner, full glass, like window across the whole. Like you could see the whole inside the whole diner.
You can get great footage to sell to the news. Yeah.
And it was just a great like setup to that, and then we go from there right into like the. We go right into the car chase, because one of the gunmen inside the diner escapes. And just one other bit of information. Apparently, they shut down 10 blocks in Laurel Canyon for 5 consecutive nights. Apparently.
Wow.
I bet that was
pain
probably a
in the
big
ass.
part of their budget.
Yeah. All right, so let's back up a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
Because one of the things that I mentioned earlier, when Jake Gyllenhaal is at the home invasion scene, that turns out to be
Yes.
a drug deal that went wrong. He, as I said, gets footage of the two guys walking out of the house that clearly did the naughty things that happened, and they get in a car and he gets their plates. He turns all of his footage over to the police because they come. I don't think he would volunteer, but they come and they're like, "We need that footage because it's a terrible crime." And they can't. The police can't say, "Don't broadcast it," whatever. He sold it to the news station, whatever. But he doesn't give them that footage or tell them that it exists because at this point,
that part of the
that part. I'm
footage,
sorry, yeah, that part of where you can see the faces of the men
And
you can
license-
identify the license plate
Yeah.
and their vehicle, because you already think he's way over the line at this point in the movie.
Yeah.
And he's basically like, this is beyond I'm moving the body, I'm sneaking into an active crime scene when the crime is barely over and the police aren't here yet. Like, none of that stuff. He essentially decides, which is for what he's doing brilliant, he's going to stake out these guys. He's going to find them, he's going to follow them, and then he's going to call 911 to get the police to come. So then they're in that diner and they can get that great footage. What's really crazy about that part of the scene is at the same time, Rick is asking him for a raise.
Yeah.
And it's first funny because he says, "Well, tell me a number." And Rick's like, 175. And he goes, "Done."
Yeah.
And then Rick's like, "I could have gotten more, couldn't I?" He goes, "Yep." But then Rick basically starts to try to sort of Lou Bloom him a little bit with, "I know what you do and you need me," and all that kind of stuff. And Jake Gyllenhaal's character asserts dominance so profoundly.
Yeah.
First making that clear and then essentially saying, "Boy, I sure would want to have to hurt you if you make some of these choices you're talking about." That is just two guys talking in the car.
Yeah.
One of the most intense scenes of the movie. And then it becomes the shootout that you talked about,
Yeah.
because he called 911 and two cops go in the diner, and then Jake Gyllenhaal sees one of the guys, one of these what turned out to be drug dealers, has a gun under the table, and he knows we're going to get amazing
Going
footage.
down.
He sends Rick down the street
Yeah.
to get a second angle, because of course you want a second angle. You want coverage. It's good filmmaking. And then the shootout starts. And as you said, one of the guys gets away and then the car chase starts. That is incredibly intense and suspenseful.
Yeah.
Another level above the house that he snuck into that I mentioned.
Oh, definitely. Because you see him pull out that gun, like you can see it from,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah,
police don't
through
see
the
it.
clear
And you're
window.
like,
Yeah.
oh, Yeah.
And of course, if Jake Gyllenhaal was remotely like a normal person, he might have an idea to say, "Oh no, this guy's going to shoot these policemen. Perhaps I should let them know." No,
Yeah, no.
he's going to get his footage. We don't actually see too much of the video that he shot, but for those purposes, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like it's got to be ridiculous because he set it up. Like those are real criminals. It's real policemen. It's a real shootout. It's real people dying and everything. But it happened that way because he set it up.
Yeah.
So as I said before, if you thought he was over the line before, he's way past that line. And then one of them gets away, gets in his car and takes off. And the police take off after him. And Lou Bloom and Rick follow them. And then we get to the car chase. So I wanted to know your thoughts about this because a car chase is one of those things. Talk about a trope. Lots of movies have lots of car chases. Some of them are excellent. Some of them are stupid. Some of them defy physics in Fast and the Furious movies. This, I had forgotten there's a specific part of it that I think is really powerful. But just as a car chase, I think it's really great and part of the story. What was your feeling about it?
Well, I mean, here's the thing about this is what I think about it is that when you look at the way this made me feel, because it was unique, because I love a good car chase. I love there's a car chase in. I mean, I could go through a lot of it, but I love the car chase in Captain America: Winter Soldier with Sam Jackson. That's a great car chase.
It is,
and the reason I bring that one up specifically is because there's a lot of collateral damage going on in that.
Yep.
There's also a lot of collateral damage going on in this one.
Yep.
But for some reason, when I'm watching the Winter Soldier one, don't really care as much. And this one, I think everything that was happening, every swerve, cutting in between other cars getting hit.
Yep.
Like every time that something like that happened, like you're cringing. You're like, oh no. And it's so funny to think about because, I mean, if you've seen both of those movies, like and I hate to say it makes me feel callous. I'm not really giving a shit about the Sam Jackson one. Like they're crashing into cars, they're hitting.
Well, because he matters.
Yeah,
and he's hurt.
Yeah,
and you're upset that he's hurt.
And you just you want him to take care of the bad guys. And this, it's like. It was just like I said, even like the swerves and the near misses that are happening in this, it's like you're just like, oh shit, and then there's the big thing at the end. You're like, oh, it's like you're almost like, oh fuck.
I think there's something very powerful in action scenes because and this isn't even a criticism. There are certain movies that if you looked at the script, it would be like, and then they fight.
Yeah.
And then there are other movies like John Wick movies or whatever where it's all choreographed. I don't know how much of that detail was in the script, but in that movie, this isn't just going to be Halle Berry and Keanu Reeves and a couple of her dogs fight their way out. Like they planned all that stuff, they made all that stuff happen, and the guys, literally the stunt guys, essentially, wrote the script, and so they know what's going to happen. This is so precisely choreographed.
Yes,
there's no part of it that feels like we're filming a car chase.
Yeah,
like it's really,
and I think that's why I was feeling it.
Yeah,
too.
no, I mean it's very visceral.
Yeah,
and the reason that I think it's everything from the beginning of the restaurant stakeout, including the drama with Rick negotiating, through this car chase, is the whole thing is so incredibly intense. I've seen this movie before. I probably haven't watched it in 3 years, and before that, I hadn't really watched it since I saw it in the theater, and I knew it was really good. I picked it up on Blu-ray at some point, so when I watched it 3 years ago, I was like, wow, this is good. I still managed to forget how intense it is, how expertly crafted this car chase is. And I love a good car chase. I love action movies. One of my favorite recent examples is in Jack Reacher, which has a fantastic car chase with a very funny ending. And there's no score. It's just really well shot. Christopher McQuarrie knows how to do action, all that kind of stuff. This car chase has something that I never really thought about before, probably because I was so into it. And this time I knew I had to talk about it, so I had to think about it more. Most car chases that you see in movies, like Popeye chasing the drug dealers in French Connection, you either see...
I do like that one, too.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
You either see... And he's chasing the train and everything. You either see the hero in their car, and whatever they're doing, going the wrong way, whatever, you see them chasing it. Mission Impossible movies do that with Tom Cruise, like on a motorcycle, in a car, whatever. You don't always see the bad guy chasing them, but you see that too in this car chase, which is police cars, multiple ones that some of them get out of the chase because they crash. Multiple police cars are going after. I think it's a Cadillac or GMC black SUV or something. You never go inside those cars. Yeah. Everything is from the perspective of Lou Bloom and Rick in their car. Rick, first of all, looks like he is genuinely going to shit his pants, which is how I would feel if I was in a car and somebody was driving like that. That's how you know in this red Dodge Challenger, Lou Bloom does know what he's doing. But to stay in the perspective of these observers, I forgot, or maybe I never even really thought about it before. It's so unnerving. You are essentially Rick. Yeah. You feel totally powerless. Yeah. You have no influence on the decisions of what's happening. You're not the hero trying to catch a guy. You're not the bad guy trying to get away, or vice versa. It is the way that it's shot and the way that you feel emotionally watching it. I can't think of any other car chase that made me feel that way. And again, lots of movies have car chases and lots of them are cool but don't matter. This really built up like just how devoted this guy is to getting his shot. And again, you know he's getting incredible footage. Yeah. And then the guy and the police car crash. It's great stunt work. It's a spectacular crash. And Lou Bloom gets out of his car and he walks past the black SUV. And then he sees, it looks in the car and he says there, he's dead. Rick, come on out here. And Rick gets out of the car to go take shots of the car, the crashed drug dealer's car in the body.
I think he actually specifically tells him to shoot inside the car. Like,
right, that's right. He directs him to film inside. Right, he directs him to film inside the car. It turns out, which this is not shocking because the whole scene is like Rick is going to die. Yeah, Rick has crossed the line, and Lou Bloom said, "I will hurt you." Yeah. So it's not surprising that he would do it, but he let the drug dealer. He saw that the drug dealer was alive. He didn't tell Rick, and so Rick dies. Yeah. So that he can film that too. Like it's an unbelievable, not the finish of the movie, but it's an unbelievable, exciting and intense and really upsetting way to bring the action of the movie to a close. Yeah. And just that perspective thing that I mentioned about how you as an audience member experience the car chase, I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. It's amazing, but also it's awful and horrifying. So it's great.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. When you just really felt it. Like it wasn't your typical action movie car chase because you were more concerned.
Right, but it had that level of stunt work.
No, definitely.
There's great cinematography shooting these cars. There's some accidents. They all feel very real.
I feel like
the whole thing is an insurance nightmare.
I'm sure. I almost feel like it needs to be almost at a higher level than some of these action movies because you wanna feel that, or I'm sure that's what the intention is for the director, for you to feel that, all those little.
This also isn't a movie that needs to have a spectacular car chase at all. Oh, like it's like you're not expecting that. Yeah. In Fast and Furious 6, when they're like, we're gonna drive this supercar out of this one building in Dubai into the other floor of the other building, whatever. Yeah. But like that's what the movies do. Yeah. You couldn't have told me where this movie was gonna. You couldn't have asked me where this movie was gonna go, and I would have been able to predict it. Other than the feeling that I mentioned before of the constant escalation. Yeah. Which is, of course, really well done and is the tension that drives the movie. Yeah. But then you get to the end of the movie. Yeah. And he's got this crazy footage. Uh-huh. And Nina, who you know, and he said it explicitly on several times, is he's exploiting her sexually. And he even says to her, like, you will do what I want you to do, including at your apartment. Like, he is in control of the situation. And then he's got this footage and he's going to sell it to her. And there's this incredible scene where it's just the two of them looking at each other. And she is into it. She is like, this guy is making my career unbelievable. And there's nothing fake about her. I don't know what she does, what face she puts on when they're in her apartment or whatever. Yeah. But she is like aroused by what this guy is offering to her professionally. Yeah. And it is so disturbing because she knows he's going to make this happen for her and she doesn't care how he does it. And that's the end of the movie.
Yeah. It's definitely
Capitalism, hooray!
I know, yeah, it's definitely.
Woo.
I mean, this movie definitely it sort of holds up that mirror to American capitalism, and it's not necessarily the most pretty reflection. That's for sure.
Well, there isn't really a pretty reflection. That's the whole thing.
Well,
Because
yeah.
the triumphs of capitalism, somebody wins. Well, somebody has to lose.
Yeah.
And if you win or you want to win, you can always make an excuse as to why those people lost and they deserved it and stuff. The guy that was in that home invasion house
Yeah.
that was dying that he didn't help,
Yeah.
he might have been a crappy person, but like he let him die.
Yeah.
Lou Bloom let him die. Lou Bloom let Rick get murdered. Like all these things, like it's just victory at any cost.
Well, and I say that when I say that's not a pretty reflection, I think that there is definitely in our country a romanticizing of capitalism.
absolutely,
So
yeah.
when I say that, it's like, hey, you look at this, and it's like it's not really what you think it is. But here's something that's an interesting little tidbit. Did you know that they actually, as a part of a viral marketing campaign for this, that they created a fake LinkedIn profile for Lou Bloom?
Did they really?
Yes.
Finally a reason to go to LinkedIn.
I was like, and apparently it was his profile was like endorsing like management and strategic planning skills. So that's like amazing.
That's
like,
funny. Well, even hearing him talk about like business book nonsense,
Yeah.
is upsetting.
I know. It's just like some of the stuff. I mean, honestly, that is those things that he was just, just like the silly stuff. Like, you gotta, if you want a lottery ticket, you gotta.
Right. If you wanna win the lottery, you
gotta
gotta
make
earn the
enough
money
money.
to buy a ticket.
I know,
Yeah.
and it's just like
All those things.
Thanks.
Which I mean, technically is true, but you don't have to destroy people to get $5 or whatever.
I think there's a lot of stuff that he says that you're like on the surface, like, and I think this is what gets a lot of these people that listen to these, crazy entrepreneurs on YouTube or whatever social media, and they're like, oh, that seems like it makes sense,
Right.
But it's like, but what do you really?
Well, and it's
you're
still
not
it's
saying
still
anything.
it's still some kind of a shortcut. I mean, this whole movie is about pushing the line further and further and further. And as a movie, you're at a certain point you're not surprised. Oh, of course he would do that. He's terrible.
Yeah.
But they managed to still surprise the audience with how far over the line they keep going and
Yeah.
how it happens. And you could make the argument that you succeed in this world in many ways and in many milieu by doing that and not caring who you steamroll. And there is lots and lots of evidence and people that we could cite that we won't on this Not As Political podcast
Yeah.
that have lived their lives like that and that their success is on the ashes of other people.
I mean, and if just to kind of like talk about this as a overall assessment of. Excuse me.
Welcome back to the microphone.
Hello,
Scott.
yeah, this is the microphone. I'm going to reacquaint myself.
Well, you were talking about an overall assessment. Of
Overall,
something
like, sort of
before
like
you decided not to use the microphone. Well, we can lav you up if you want. It's fine.
I actually do have a laugh, but anyway,
perfect. Me too, but I don't know where it is.
Yeah. So, but like, I would say, sort of the strength of this movie is that it is giving us this critique without they're not getting too preachy. They're not because what they're showing us, and this is what any good movie should do. Unfortunately, some don't, and that is they're telling us through the actions of the characters. This is why these things aren't great, or what the directors and screenwriters' intention or what they're trying to tell us is done through. It's all done through the actions of the characters. Not,
I mean, as opposed to a scene where somebody goes, "Here's my motivation and the theme of the movie," like that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
which
Yeah, no,
would-
it's very effective.
it's yeah. They do a great job of kind of it's such a cliche of the show don't tell, but I feel like nowadays it's unfortunately it's more of a treat when someone shows very well.
Yeah.
And I feel like this movie does that. And if I had to say there was any weakness to this and to this movie, would be that as we progress, as we're sort of escalating,
These escalations, yeah.
I do feel like as we start to get to the very end, you do feel, or at least I did. I was like, all right, man, we're getting a little bit. When he says, I felt like there was a lot going on at the very end when he tells Rick, hey, come here. I feel like there was a lot of moving parts to that plan to get rid of Rick.
Oh, you mean to have him stand in front of the guy with the gun that
Yeah,
isn't actually dead?
yeah. I mean that was, and honestly, that's such a overall. And I don't feel like it impacts the thematic like quality. I don't know if that's the phrase I want to use, but you know what I mean. Like I don't feel like it takes away from the movie. But if I was gonna say if there was one thing that like at the end I was like, how did he know he was gonna do that? You know that. But other than that, that's really the only criticism I can really put upon this movie. And I don't feel like it lessened the movie in any way. I feel like the way that it gets its themes across still are very strong.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I didn't happen to see it that way. I don't think there's such a thing as a perfect movie.
Yeah.
Even the greatest movie ever made, Mad Max Fury Road, at a certain plot point has to come down to how many bullets they have left for a rifle.
Yeah.
And I believe I've studied this for more than 10 years,
Yes.
and I'm comfortable announcing now. I think they do, in fact, as many suspect, get the count wrong, and they're one short.
Did you do your own research?
You mean look on YouTube?
Yes.
No, I studied the text.
Or Google. Just Google.
ChatGPT.
Did you do Google? I just give the first result.
Yeah, ChatGPT and I hung out. But I think this is a movie that does one of my favorite things watching movies, which is I'm the movie. I want to do this, and I did it, and I executed it really well.
I can't disagree with that part.
It happens to be about stuff that I think 11 years ago to today remains very relevant and everything like that.
Yes.
Also, if you're ready, we can talk about the very last scene of the movie.
Yes, go ahead.
So, Lou Bloom has gotten his partner killed.
Yeah.
He has sold his footage for even more money. The woman that he's been exploiting has decided very clearly and with excitement, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
We're killing it. Even though she's not killing it, he's killing it and using her.
Yeah.
But she'll take it. It's fine. The last scene of the movie is Lou Bloom talking to what turns out to be 3 employees with his own 2 news vans.
For video production
news.
Yeah.
And he's giving them more business nonsense and how they're going to succeed. And then he tells them at the end, and if your internships go well, then you'll be able to move into a position working for the company. So he's already, let's keep exploiting people. And they all seem more professional in their uniforms than Rick and stuff. And the last shot of the movie is these 2 vans going off in 2 different directions to go into the night to keep doing it.
Don't forget his last line where he goes, I'll never ask you to do something I wouldn't do myself. And you're like, well, shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
well, he's proven that he'll do a lot of insane
I was like,
stuff,
I don't think that's really saying much.
Yeah.
So was there, did you have any other thing you want to discuss about the movie before we kind of go into
one last thing.
Yes.
There was a series on Netflix a few years ago. I had to look up the title. It was called Shot in the Dark.
Yes.
And it was a documentary series about real night crawlers.
Wasn't that from the guys that they were, I thought the guys that they were researching with did that.
The ones that they used to fuel the movie, the Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe that's true. That show is so intense I couldn't watch it.
Oh God, okay.
Like really, it was so intense because the movie Nightcrawler, a work of fiction, was very intense and felt very real. And if you told me they went out on the street with real night crawlers and they got this information, I'd be like, yeah, I believe it. It's credible.
Yeah.
This Netflix documentary series showed these guys chasing down accidents and all this other stuff. It wasn't even from what they do is really wrong or dirty or anything like that. It was just so intense.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I said to myself, I can't watch this. I can't watch it. It was crazy. And the movie definitely captured the intensity, but you didn't feel that intensity that I watching these guys through Lou Bloom.
Yeah.
Because he didn't care.
Yeah.
He couldn't do anything wrong. I'll let that guy die in a car because I'll get footage and it'll be worth it because I don't care. And so as a portrait of American journalism, as a portrait of modern Los Angeles, as a portrait of capitalism, as a portrait of ambition, to me, like Sinners, when our first episode, when we talked about it, this is a great American movie.
Yes.
A fantastic movie.
So
not fun.
I got you.
Not fun, but excellent.
No, but realistic, and sometimes those types of movies we need to have those out there.
Yep.
Do you have any type, or actually, I shouldn't say do you have, but what would you, if you were gonna suggest a double feature, what would you pair this movie with?
Oh, that's a good question. I probably should have thought about before we turned on the record. Well, I think it is a great journalism movie, and you could pair it with something like All the President's Men,
Okay.
which is about two professional journalists
Yeah.
uncovering a real conspiracy that really threatens the republic.
Yeah.
That's actually important. That's actually happened. And what they do as professional journalists and the process that they go through. I love a good process movie.
Yeah.
I love what I call competence porn, where you see people who are good at a job do something, like Apollo 13 or whatever. And this is like another side of the same process. This is journalism. The goals and definitely the methods are very different. It feels just as real because it is.
Yeah.
So I feel like that is, you could watch a movie from, I can't remember what year All the President's Men came out with Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
Decades later,
Yeah. I mean, it's
it's
sometime in the
a
70s.
portrait of modern, in this case, television, modern American journalism, that it feels just as real.
Yeah.
What, do you have a double feature?
I do. I have two. One, well, Taxi Driver, because I brought that up. Taxi Driver as possible, but also possibly a movie like Drive, because I get a certain type of vibe from that one. So
Have you seen Drive?
I have not seen Drive, so that's
that's
why
an
I do a
interesting
vibe.
choice.
So I just picked that based strictly on vibes.
So you're like, so that's a movie about some movie star driving around Los Angeles. It must be the same. It's actually not a terrible combination because of the vibe.
Yeah.
Drive is by Nicholas Winding Refn, whose movies are all vibe.
I feel like I suggested it because it was like, I think this would be a movie I would like to watch as a double feature.
I think it's worth watching.
But
you can choose a double feature that makes you go and watch it. There's nothing wrong with that.
that's but it definitely was all vibes. So I'm gonna do this movie isn't that old, and I'll do this before we wrap up here. But I'll just do a quick recast. And so I know you probably hate these, but
I don't hate it.
So if I had to recast Lou, here's my two choices. I have two choices: Evan Peters, because he's crazy.
Okay.
But also here's a I think out of the box, Jesse Eisenberg.
Could be interesting too.
Yeah, because I think he can play that detached kind of crazy. I mean, well, look at some of the people he's played in the past.
Well, you know who I again, another thing I didn't think about.
Yeah.
You know who I think would be very interesting?
Who?
Because the affect of this actor is generally lower key.
Yeah.
And I think that they're an excellent actor and they could sell this.
Yeah.
Even though they're not as ugly as Lou Bloom. It's Rebecca Ferguson. Because
you just like Rebecca Ferguson, though.
I do, but there's a coolness and
Yeah?
a professionalism that is legitimate in the way that she
I haven't
she
seen
comes
her
off.
in enough stuff that I thought. Well, you know what though, she is. I've seen clips of her from Doctor Sleep, from the trailer. So yeah, she does kind of and I've also read the book, so
she has
I know
not
how
had
that
a
character
full
is.
range
Yeah.
of the roles I think that show what she could do. I wouldn't trade Jake Gyllenhaal in this movie for anybody.
No,
I mean it's unbelievable.
Sure.
But I think it would also be interesting to see an angle where it's a woman.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because this is about greed.
Here's my choice for Rick:
Yes.
Lakeith Stanfield. Stanfield. Excuse me, not
I mean,
Stansfield.
you obviously like to say his name properly, so you chose him.
So
I
think he could play. I think he's would be different, but like I think he'd be different, but I think he could also pull off the same vibe that Riz Ahmed did. And I think mainly because I think of him in. Did you ever watch Atlanta?
Oh my God, I love that show.
I think that character's vibe.
Love me some Paperboy.
Yeah. Paperboy. I think he could kind of pull that off, like that sort of the vibe of that character. Although I know a lot of these actors don't like to play the same types of characters again, but that character in the Rick part, which kind of goes back to the stoner vibe they were saying that some of the people did, and maybe that's why I was making that connection in my head.
Well, if I was going to recast Rick, I would probably have to go with Rebecca Ferguson as the twin sister that is dominated by the Bloom sister.
There you go.
I'm just kidding.
But Nina, here I don't know how inspired this choice is. Kate Blanchett. I mean, I feel like she's a
wonderful actress.
Yeah.
But Rene Russo is a gorgeous woman.
Yeah.
And an excellent actress who feels like a real person.
Yeah.
In many roles,
Yeah.
which I think is great for her.
Yeah.
In this, she feels like what she is. I'm an ambitious news director. I'm not the youngest woman in the crowd. There is an urgency to what I'm doing. I don't want to go back to Peoria or whatever.
Because
if this
sort
stuff
of,
takes me to New York, if this stuff takes me to network broadcasts in LA, I'm there.
Because I think when he's like, you're doing the vampire shift here. Like don't pretend.
Right,
I know where you are.
I know who you
life.
are. Yeah. Because he'll cut right through to you.
My Joe Loader is my last one. Woody Harrelson or John C. Reilly doing a series.
This is the Bill Paxton role.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could see either one of. I mean, I feel like Woody Harrelson is more like in line with Bill Paxton. John C. Reilly could make it a little, like, not funny though, not funny John C. Reilly, like serious John C. Reilly, like Magnolia John C. Reilly.
At this point, I'm kind of like, what would the movie be like if every role was played by Rebecca Ferguson? That would be really interesting.
That would be funny. So, did you have anything else to add to this one?
Not to this one.
Okay. All
but
right.
I do want to ask you a question.
Yes.
Have you seen anything recently other than this movie that was worth watching or avoiding?
Well, I saw, actually, I just watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and
had you never seen that before?
I had never seen that before.
Oh, fun.
I had actually bought it and hadn't watched it, and I've been meaning to watch it. It's one of those ones that slipped through the cracks. Watched it.
What, do you have 3 kids or something?
Yeah, I do have 3 kids. I mean, unfortunately. Did I
almost say, wow.
Did I almost say unfortunately?
This is quite revealing.
No.
You meant unfortunately for my movie watching.
Yes, that's what I meant. Jesus, God.
Good
please.
God.
No, I love my kids. I do.
Don't make me call CPS.
Please stop. No. But I watched it, and it was one of those things where it's like Quentin Tarantino very much in love with late 60s Hollywood. But as far as the movie goes, definitely rating them against other Quentin Tarantino movies, probably middle of the pack. Not his best, but certainly not bad. And there's some very interesting scenes that I really liked in it. But there was a little bit of it I was kind of like, all right, we can go to the next scene, please.
It's got one of the greatest pit bulls in movies.
That's true.
Because I remember watching that movie and I was like, this is cool. I'm digging it. I'm digging some of the stuff. Margot Robbie's portrayal of Sharon Tate is really beautiful and moving. And then Brad Pitt confronts Manson family people in his house with a pit bull and a can of beer, and I was just
while he's
like
high
everyone else,
while he's high on acid,
right? Just totally.
I love when what's his face? What's his name? Austin Butler. When he goes, I'm here. He goes, what was your name again? He goes, I'm the devil. I'm here to do devil's business. He goes, nah, it was something stupider than that.
I was dumber than that.
Yeah, dumber than that.
Great.
I love that.
And then they gave Brad Pitt an Oscar for that, and I was fine with that.
So did he get an Oscar for that?
Yeah, that he won Best Supporting Actor Oscar. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, I missed that one.
And then Mikey Madison, who was the one with the little round face, he said, who got eventually
she got barbecued.
Her face got destroyed by a dog, and then Leonardo DiCaprio burned her in the pool with a flamethrower. Really subtle death scene.
Really.
Then she won an Oscar. So a lot of people in that movie with Oscars.
Well, the whole Manson family was all became.
I keep forgetting that's Austin Butler.
Yeah,
I really like him a lot. I still haven't seen Elvis, but I think he's just so magnetic, and I forgot that was him in that.
I know. I want to see. I do want to see Caught Stealing.
That looks fun.
It looks good. I love to see Orthodox Jews with machine guns.
It is compelling because it's an unexpected.
It is very unexpected. What have you seen?
Thanks for asking.
Yes.
Today, actually, on our day of recording, this will give you a little sense of how far ahead we are. There's a movie that's out for 1 week. It's from 2016. They did a 4K restoration. I don't know if you can tell that it's a 4K restoration in the theater. I presume that means it will be coming out on a 4K disc. It is available on a somewhat hard-to-find Blu-ray now. But I'd seen it 3 times. I'd never seen it in the theater. It's called Shin Godzilla. It's a Godzilla movie from 2016. It's its own take on Godzilla. It portrays a Japan that has never heard of Godzilla and encounters Godzilla in the modern era. To see it on the big screen was super fun. To bring my wife, who had never seen it, and she quite liked it, was super fun. It was also our first D-Box movie. And I believe 4DX is the one where your seat shakes and it squirts stuff at you, like a ride. And D-Box, I guess they take the...
That's a great way to describe it.
They take the actual movie and they synchronize it more closely. So, like, if your character's in a helicopter and they go around a corner or something, your seat goes in that way or something. So we saw it. I figured a Godzilla movie for D-Box is probably a good choice.
Yeah.
The D-Box stuff is fun. It did not make me like the movie more. I already think it's an amazing movie. It actually won the Japanese Oscars. It won Best Picture. It's about Japan and Fukushima and nuclear weapons and competence and all these other things that are incredible. But it's a real treat to see a movie that you know quite well on the big screen.
Yeah.
And so it's out for 1 week. It's gone by the time you're listening to this. But it was really exciting to get the opportunity to see something like that. And I was glad my wife liked it too.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of being shaken around, have stuff squirted at my face, but whatever.
Everybody's into their own thing. This one was D-Box, which sounds dirtier.
Yeah, it does sound
But
very
D-Box
dirty.
is the seat shakes and moves and tilts.
Yes.
And you can adjust the intensity.
Oh,
So
really?
if you're getting D-Box too hard, you can ask for it to
I hate when
go
I get
down.
D-boxed too
You
hard.
can ask her to be
Always
less.
the worst.
But yeah, it was really fun. And I've actually been going to the movies more this year
Me
in the
too.
theater than I have since
know.
COVID, basically.
I haven't.
And it's great.
This is the most I've been to the movie. Like I don't been to the actual theaters, not
Yeah, exactly.
movie viewing, but
Yeah.
been to the actual theaters.
It's exciting.
Like maybe like a couple times, maybe 2-3 times in the year, and I've been quite a few times.
Yeah, it's great. So yeah,
Anyway.
so that's what I saw, Shin Godzilla, which I recommend to anyone who likes a Godzilla movie, but
Or
also
likes
anyone,
a good D-box.
Well, even if you don't see it with your D-Box, if you don't get your D-Box,
I don't think it's squirted in the face.
it's a great movie. And also what I like about it is you can love Godzilla or know nothing about Godzilla. It's a great movie. Like Godzilla -1, which is an even better movie.
Yes, I have to watch that one too.
We
All
can
right.
talk about that one too.
Yes, we do have to. We'll have to work
We
that.
have
in.
we have a show.
Yes, I've heard. So that's a wrap on Nightcrawler, and we'll be back next time to do more script to screen over analysis, or maybe just regular analysis. And you can check us out on Instagram at StoryPodPunk, and we have updates there and tell you when the next episode's coming out. It comes out every Thursday, just so you know. Also, we have a Facebook page for all you boomers and Gen X and older millennials and anybody else. And
It's not age restricted. You
it's
don't
not
have to-
age. It's not age
we're-
restricted.
I'll be honest, we're not on LinkedIn.
We're not on LinkedIn. And I'm also on Letterboxd as Storypunk Scott. And I don't know. Do you have a?
Well, please know you can find our show, which you've obviously already found, on literally tens of podcast platforms, services,
Yes.
and please subscribe.
The big ones and
and-
the little ones.
That's right. Please subscribe
we
and
don't
review.
discriminate.
It does help us when you do these things, but also if you subscribe, you won't miss anything. And I hope you're enjoying the show.
Yes. And until next time, remember that story matters.